Hey Calipers, welcome to the California Perspective. I'm Callie, and today we are talking about the phone call between Donald Trump and Raffensperger. Let's jump in. Trump leaves office as he entered, crying about voter fraud. It's easy to forget that 4 years ago, Trump claimed voter fraud as a reason he lost the popular vote. Despite the overt voter suppression techniques utilized against Democratic voters, Trump claimed things were stacked against him. He claimed that he would provide proof. That never came. Also, if you recall, Trump had first claimed fraud in the primary election at the Iowa caucuses. You starting to see a trend happening? I am. And really, if Trump truly believed that voter fraud had occurred, he had 4 years to try and work with states to shore up the security of elections. Well, it turns out that in 2020, we ended up having the most secure elections in our nation's history, according to his own cybersecurity chief. And of course, Trump being Trump, he promptly fired his cybersecurity chief immediately after that statement. Now, Trump is directly trying, at the very least, to influence elections in the state of Georgia. Trump did ask Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to find votes, and he said that more than once. What is not explicit is the pressure that Trump is applying, but Trump's coercive tactics are clearly on display. What we can infer from this conversation is that Trump was trying to provide the facade of legitimacy, make Raffensperger feel insecure about his position, make Raffensperger feel like he's letting his team down, make Raffensperger feel insecure about his office and political future, disregard Raffensperger's responses as illegitimate, provide Raffensperger actionable moves, including finding votes. If Trump truly believes he won and his numbers are accurate, then telling Raffensperger to find votes is simply telling Raffensperger to follow the rules and thereby find what ought to be found. If Trump knows he lost, then Trump telling Raffensperger to find votes is telling Raffensperger to break the law to help Trump win. There is no way to know Trump's thoughts, and each side will come at it from their own point of view. But that is to identify legal boundaries, and Legal Eagle did a great video. Right now, the legal arguments miss the point. The point is that the President of the United States should not be calling state election officials to review these things at all. Period. Full stop. States get to follow their election rules, and challenges to the way they are doing it are brought through the court system, where Trump has and where Trump lost repeatedly. State election officials can be brought before state legislators, where Raffensperger spent at least 4 hours, split between both houses of the Georgia legislature, to explain each item of contention. Raffensperger even met with U.S. Republican congressmen for 2 hours to go over the past election. There is no world where the sitting president grilled the Georgia Secretary of State on issues they have publicly addressed, where that is a legitimate option. One can interpret the conversation as applying pressure. For a phone call that lasted 1 hour and 3 minutes, Trump spoke for 59 minutes. Trump had no interest in going point by point and listening to what the Georgians had to say about the election. Trump put his points out there, warned Raffensperger with what might happen to the Georgia governor, another Georgia politician who refused to overstep his post, and lost Trump's favor. Quick side note, I did a Cali summary for the Republican-Democrat comparison of holding up the Electoral College vote certification. If you watched it, let me know down in the comments if you prefer something short like that, or if you prefer more in-depth analysis like this one. The rest of this video will identify the issue and provide quotes from the phone call which support main category. Provide the facade of legitimacy by listing a bunch of issues, but do not wait for the answers. So Mitchell, who recently resigned from her law firm, apparently under pressure, was representing Trump. So when they were talking about some of the issues, she stated that that's just one of 25 categories. So the Trump team had 25 categories of complaints. Number 2, anywhere from 250,000 to 300,000 ballots were dropped mysteriously into the rolls. Number 3, we think that if you check the signatures a real check of the signatures going back in Fulton County, you'll find at least a couple 100,000 to 4 signatures of people who have been forged. Number 4, it's in the 50s of thousands, and that's people that went to vote and they were told they could not vote because they'd already been voted for. I believe it's about 4,502 voters who voted, but who weren't on the voter registration list. You had 18,325 vacant address voters. Number 6, smaller number, you had 904 who had only voted where they had just a PO. Number 7, we had at least 18,000. That's on tape. We had them counted very painstakingly. 18,000 voters having to do with name redacted. She's a vote scammer and a professional vote scammer and hustler. So those are the quotes Trump as an excuse for having this conversation in the first place. So the next section is to make Raffensperger feel insecure about his own position. I have these broken up into different categories. So the first category is it'll make you look bad. So these are quotes, unless otherwise identified, from Trump to Raffensperger. So first quote, and they're going around playing you and laughing at you behind your back. Number 2, Stacey Abrams is laughing about you know. She's going around saying, these guys are dumber than a rock. Number 3, you know what they did and you're not reporting it. That's criminal. That's a criminal offense and you can't let that happen. That's a big risk to you and to Ryan, your lawyer. And that's a big risk. So interject here. When said by a president who has taken strong political control over the Department of Justice, this is no idle threat. This could be interpreted as a warning against Raffensperger and his lawyer that if they don't do what Trump wants, he's going to put the Justice Department on them. Second category, bad things will happen. Quote, the people of Georgia are angry, and these numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night. Number 2, you treated the population of Georgia so badly. Number 3, it makes everybody look bad. You, me, everybody. Third category of it's impossible. We have other people coming in now from Alabama and from South Carolina and from other states, and they're saying it's impossible for you to have lost Georgia. In Georgia, we set a record with a massive amount of votes, and they say it's not possible to have lost Georgia. Number 2, I could tell you by our rallies. I could tell you by the rally I'm having on Monday night. The place, they already have lines of people standing out in front waiting. It's just not possible to have lost Georgia. It's not possible. Number 3, I won this election by hundreds of thousands of votes. There's no way I lost Georgia. There's no way. Number 4, ask the governor of major states in the surrounding states. There's just no way you lost Georgia. As the Georgia politicians say, there is no way you lost Georgia. Nobody. Everyone knows I won it by hundreds of thousands of votes. Number 5, people have been saying that it was the highest vote ever. There's no way. A lot of the political people said there's no way they beat me. And they beat me. So that was it for the quotes I collected for making Raffensperger feel insecure about his position. This next section is to make Raffensperger feel like he's letting down the team or traitorous. Number 1, quote, the people of Georgia are angry, and the people of this country are angry. I use this quote twice because it fits in both sections. It's designed to make him feel like bad things might happen because people are angry, and it's made to feel like he's letting down his own team. Number 2, it makes everybody look bad. You, me, everybody. Number 3, what she's done to this party is unbelievable. Talking about Stacey Abrams. Number 4, you've taken a state that's a Republican state, and you've made it almost impossible for a Republican to win because of cheating. Because they cheated like nobody's ever cheated before. Number 5, and a lot of Republicans are going to vote negative because they hate what you did to the president. Number 6, social media is big tech. Big tech is on your side, you know. I don't even know why you have a side, because you should want to have an accurate election, and you're a Republican. As though being a Republican, he's supposed to make other Republicans win. Next section is about making Raffensperger feel insecure about his office and political future. Talking about the governor. He was, quote, he was down 21 points, and like a schmuck, I endorsed him. And he got elected. but I'll tell you, he is a disaster. Number 2, I can't imagine that people are so angry in Georgia. I can't imagine he's ever getting elected again. Section 5, disregard the responses Raffensperger provided as illegitimate. This quote was from Mitchell. Quote, you refuse to give us information. Interjection, the information is actually legally protected. Number 2, you don't know, when talking about the voting machines. Number 3, and why can't we have professionals do it instead of rank amateurs who will never find anything and don't want to find anything? Re-examine it with people that want to find answers, not people that don't want to find answers. Number 4, those numbers are so wrong. Number 5, that was based on the information given to you by the Secretary of State's Department, right? So this next section is a call to action. So Trump has set up different things that he's complaining about. He set up Raffensperger to try and scare him out of his own position. He's warned him about things that's going to happen. He's warned Raffensperger about things that might happen to other people who go against Trump. So now we're in a section of a call to action. Things that Trump will put out there for Raffensperger to do to turn the election. This first one is to find votes. Oh, I don't know. Look, Brad, I have to find 12,000 votes, and I have them times a lot, and therefore I won the state. Number 2, quote, I only need 11,000 votes, fellas. I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break. This quote is attributed to an unidentified speaker. Is it possible that the Secretary of State could deputize the lawyers for the president so that we could access that information, private information, without you having any kind of violation? So this is an attempt to subvert the law for Trump's political gain. Number 3, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have because we won the state. So this next category under the call to action is what I'm calling recalculation. It's just one word for it, and we'll see in the quotes that Trump's got a few others. Quote, and there's nothing wrong with saying that that you've recalculated. 2, quote, and I think that you have to say, which you're going to re-examine it, and you can re-examine it. Number 3, they hate it, and they're going to vote, and you would be really respected if this thing could be straightened out before the election. Number 4, now flipping the state is a great testament to our country because, it's a testament that they can admit to a mistake or whatever you want to call it. So this last section, there's an interesting thing that they threw out there. And after making no headway with Raffensperger and Germany, they attempted to switch what was agreed to at the end. So at the end of the agreement, well, I'll let you listen to it. This one's going to run a bit longer because it is a conversation between the two sides. But the premise is that Attorney Ryan Germany, who's representing Raffensperger, agreed to meet with Trump lawyers to discuss the issues. But the Trump attorney tried to make it sound like meeting to provide legally protected private information. This is longer than the other ones because it's a back and forth conversation. So this is Mark Meadows, Trump's chief of staff. Quote, I assume that we can do that within the next 24 to 48 hours to go ahead and get that reconciled so that we can look at the two claims and making sure that we get the access to the Secretary of State's data to either validate or invalidate the claims that have been made. Is that correct? Germany, that is not what I said. I'm happy to sit down with you or have our lawyers sit down. We'll start and the lawyer's on that side and explain to him, hey, here's, based on what we've looked at so far, here's how we know this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Meadows, what you're saying, Ryan, hold on, let me make sure. So what you're saying is you really don't want to give access to the data. You just want to make another case on why the lawsuit is wrong? Germany, I don't think we can give access to data that's protected by law, but we can sit down with them. Well, if you made it this far, I recommend going to caliperspective.com to see this written full out, because it can be a little bit difficult to keep together. But I want to say thank you for sticking around. I hope you learned something. If you got some benefit out of it, go ahead and give me a like, and I'll see you in the next one.